Hey. Althazar, the Freedom Astrologer here, and doing another video, this time about house systems, different house systems, and I will do my best to bring in rulership and which rulers you should use, and why, and how do I perceive and understand these things. And first of all, like a disclaimer. So, with everything we do in this world, in this reality, everything changes constantly. All of these things in astrology, in science, in every aspect, these things change constantly. We need to keep an open mind. We need to do testing. We need to do real world practical testing. We need to be able to adjust these findings, and I think the main part, what I do want to say with astrology is, whatever you hear, whatever you read, whatever you listen to, whatever you watch, all of that, there's so much information right now, and I just want to kind of affirm, let's say, or get this point really across to you. Do your own testing. So if you listen to something and learn about something, go and try it out in the real world and see if it works. If it doesn't, kind of no point in keeping it, and if it works, great. And even if it works, there's always, things you can do better. You can do new observations that will add to that, let's say, thesis or idea that has been, presented to you, and you have proven it right. So whatever it is, you can always make it better. You can always do more observations. You can always perfect it. And through those observations you do, especially, with astrology, new things will emerge and new understandings will emerge. What will then, give birth to, maybe new branches of astrology, or, new things in astrology in general. So keep an open mind, but don't take anything for face value, because, I've heard a lot about a lot of things. And, not all of these have been, let's say, true in the real world when I've tested these out. So it's really important. So there are very, maybe in more traditional astrology, there are a lot of strict rules, what you can't do, what you don't do, what you shouldn't do, and this is this degree, and, this is only this, and you can't do anything about this, and this is how it is. I've seen all of this be kind of bullshit, quite honestly, and when going out into the world, testing it out, things haven't been, let's say, as they say. So I do recommend you go out and test your stuff, test other people's stuff. Does it work? Does it not? And keep what works, make it better, disregard everything else. So now this kind of disclaimer brings us to let's say the first part of this video, which is house systems. So there are, let's say in modern astrology, I would say the most two, or the most prominent ones, are whole sign and Placidus system. Right on my left there, you can see the whole sign. Maybe I can bring that other one, and there is the Placidus one. So both of these, in my experience and in testing it out with people, doing readings, doing observations about events, what else, about, certain moments in time, and seeing how these work. These both have been really, really good and accurate. The way I approach this and how I approach astrology is I usually start with the whole sign. Whole sign is easier. Whole sign is easier to use, and in my view, it's very accurate. And remember, when you're first getting into astrology, especially, having all of that new information being bombarded to you, it's quite a lot to take in. And even to start living or doing things in your life according to the whole sign house system takes a lot of time. And now if you take, in addition, you take the if you take the Placidus, you can see a lot of things change in the Placidus system, and taking on that huge amount of information in addition to the whole sign system. It's a lot to take. So how I approach it is start with the whole sign, kind of master the whole sign, and usually use the whole sign for predictions, and kind of momentary charts. I do find whole sign to be more accurate in my personal opinion. And Placidus I do use for kind of like people's personal assessments, psychological at times, business wise, whatever it is, they're struggling or finding troubles with, So I do use both. I start with the whole sign and then move on to the Placidus one. And the weird thing about Placidus and whole sign is seeing people who kind of are pulled towards more are pulled towards Placidus, meaning Placidus is more accurate for them. But then when you add whole sign, they can get bits and pieces there, or the opposite way. So if you take and start the person off with whole sign, they might, there's so much to connect with here. And the other part is you take on the Placidus and then they can get as additional info. So these are not the only house systems or even astrological systems we use. There's sidereal. I use mostly tropical astrology, and there's Vedic. So there's so many of these. And again, what I want to say, none of these in my experience is wrong or bad or stupid, literally. There's a lot of good things in each of these branches of astrology. What I do find with tropical and let's say the kind of modern, what the Greeks mostly modernized, is it's really good for kind of I would say everyday life, everyday dealings, everyday actions, assessing people's psychological issues and stuff like that. It's been very, very, very accurate. So I do have more experience here, but having studied and taken a lot of things from different astrological branches and sciences and systems, there's a lot of good stuff there. So I don't personally disregard it. But when you're first getting into astrology, it's a bit difficult because it's so much. There's so much information, like sidereal, tropical, Vedic, whole sign, Placidus, Campanus. There's so many of these. So what I do recommend is starting with whole sign and adding to whole sign tropical astrology. There's a lot of sidereal astrologers, Hellenistic astrologers. Study with them, learn from them. And then, what I do always encourage is make your own, understandings of these because these are, first of all, these are observations from people and connections being made. So this is all this astrology actually is. There's a movement in our solar system, and that movement is associated with some event, something in a person's life, or in general life, or in societal life, or in financial markets, stuff like that. So these are just observations. This is what I want to say to you. And if any teacher says like, this is the only way to go, this is only what you should use, there's only this degree is only used for this, and this is only bad, and this is only good, I would most probably look somewhere else, because to me that shows, close-mindedness, not growing, not reaching to new understandings to be able to arise. So that's what I recommend about house systems. And do your own testing, and don't get caught up in this is wrong, this is bad, this is right, whatever that is. Go out into the world and practically test it out. So now the second part of this video, what I wanted to show you, what was this? Nope. Let's just keep it for a whole sign right now. And I wanted to share again, there's a lot of debate about this, modern rulers, ancient rulers, traditional rulers, which is which is better, which is right. So first, when I started getting into astrology, I was convinced that the modern rulers are more correct. Then I started really practicing and doing predictive work, and the part that really stood out for me is the traditional rulers still work, which is the strangest part. I have still no idea how that's possible, that both actually do work and both actually give indication. This is also, I've started to see and started seeing it more in kind of natal work, and being sitting with people and giving them consultations, is even in these matters the traditional rulers still work. So this, what we mean by traditional rulers is the 7 first influences in our solar system. So it's Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, meaning these rule all of the houses. And which then means we have 2 rulers for Aries, we have 2 rulers for Aquarius and Pisces. Or in, let's say, in traditional rulership, it's even one sign is ruled by 2 signs are ruled by one planet or influence. Let's say, for example, Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury, and then now the modern, let's say, concept of this is that some have 2. So meaning Aquarius has 2 rulers, Saturn and Uranus, and Aries has Scorpio has Mars and Pluto. There's more. I won't go into these. You can find these very easily on the internet. What rules, traditionally, what rules what, and modern. You can just Google modern rulers or traditional rulers. Usually they have both, and the key here is, again, to not fight with which is right, which is wrong. This is literally what I started doing. Was I was like, okay, there's so much debate about these arguments all the time, which is like what is right. So what I just did, I started doing tests, I started doing experiments, I started looking more charts, looked at more from the traditional point of view, looked at more from the more modern point of view, and it in my experience so far, both are correct. So you can check both. And what I do usually is check both rulers to get additional information, again, about the situation, about the human being, or the momentary chart, or let's say a financial chart. So check both. If you're starting out, you can start out with the traditional rulers because of the information being so overwhelming and coming into, but you can always then add the more modern rulers as well for additional info. So that's it. Keep an open mind, learn, test practically, and don't let anybody say like this is it 100% never can change. You know, you should only use this. Da 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 da. You know, go out and try. You know, maybe you'll be surprised what will happen, and you might discover something new entirely. That's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening, and hope to see you soon in the next video. I'm Ian Altazar, the Freedom Astrologer, and goodbye for now.